capes and conundrums. "So wait, I missed what?" Robin asks into his communicator. Apparently whatever was going back at base was too cool for him to be left out of. "New kit! An infinite grenade launcher, what's looking like magic freaking wands, explosive gel and more. Hell, we can all get pop guns now? Aren't those the rifles that will pop your shoulder out of its socket if you fire it wrong?" "Yep, man-portable and dangerous to starfighters," the man on the other end boasts. "And pop your ears out if you don't have some kind of axiom bullshit to silence it or hearing protection." "Right, well, maybe it's just me, but I think a gun that can kick people that are neither being shot by it or shooting it is a little excessive," Robin remarks. "I'll check the firing range and armory later. Is there anything else?" "We can kick up flaming tornadoes with some of the new toys?" the man on the other side asks. "Stop interrupting my date," Robin says, before hanging up. "That was kind of rude." Alviara notes, and Robin shrugs before pausing. "Wait, is that on my part, or on—" he starts to ask before a scream cuts through the air. It's one of the teenagers that have been more or less stalking them. "Should we?" he asks, and Alviara nods and then proves herself to be no slouch in axiom movement as she teleports to the edge of the roof. Robin is there in a moment. The girls are scattering away from something with screams of terror. Several are trying to fight something off. Something that Robin tackles directly into and rolls with it along the edge of a skyscraper tier before getting his hand around their throat. His pinned target has not been stunned and has zero chill as a bloody knife is thrust towards Robin's eye, and he's forced to give up the grip to save his eye. "What's the matter? I thought you liked killers around here. What's the matter? Not enough purple?" the demented Lutrine asks. She has a vaguely stained purple jacket open to reveal a sports bra underneath, and she's squeezed into filthy and torn pants, also stained purple. Her left wrist has a small electrical fob on it, with a hollow green triangle on it, a latrine symbol of health, a medical band. "Shit, shit, shit!" Alviara exclaims over the wounded teenager. "You! Call an ambulance. I need to keep pressure on the wound or she's gonna bleed out." "Who are you?" Robin asks, and the Lutrin starts smiling wide. She begins, and he's already moving. He just wanted her somewhat distracted. But apparently, she's far from that unalert as she swings the knife a few more times before vanishing in a chaotic whirl of axiom and appearing behind him. He turns in time to catch the blow, but she's enhanced it in such a way that he's sent skidding to the edge of the tier. Even as she breaks her own fist. "Youchka bibbles! Big man's been eating his Wheaties," she exclaims in a tone that shifts through at least 3 levels of mania. "Hey, you're cheating!" "Idiot," Robin remarks as he tucks away the medical band he ripped off her wrist. It should have all the information he needs on her. Now he just needs to take her down. "Cheating, cheating, cheating!" she rants. And then the axiom jolts around her according to her demented and manic will. Robin parries what seems to be a ghost of the woman as he just barely gets his boot knife up in time. The axiom twists, and he drives his opposite elbow into the forming gut of another illusion as the original blurs at him while wildly swinging the knife. She catches a solid boot in the stomach and is sent tumbling. Her focus on the axiom constructs never wavers, though despite her rising up with a groan, and Robin catches the wrist of the rallied illusion that walks on air out above the street. "Naughty, naughty. Little boys are for cutting, not for—" The mad woman begins to rant as she gathers her knife up again, and Robin's patience dies. Both illusions receive bone-snapping blows, and his knife buries itself in her left knee. And as she starts to scream, he draws his pistol, takes aim, and then shatters her right kneecap with a single shot. The illusions fade, and before the mad woman can even focus, Robin stomps on her arm and feels it snap. She screams in agony. "I don't know what kind of crazy you are, but a word of advice, don't start fights you can't finish, especially not with the armed and dangerous." Robin chides her, and he hears a slow clap. Above is a feely woman slowly applauding. I was indeed wondering what would happen if this little comic book city would have an actual comic come to life. Good to know we're in a darker version like Alan Moore's Watchmen. Did you set this woman loose? Robin asks. Confessing to such a thing would, the woman begins, before a bullet crashes into an energy shield she has outside the visible spectrum. Oh, very nice. Well-placed shot. That would have gone clear through my collarbone. Surrender or die? Robin says lowly, and the feely grins. No, she says before suddenly seizing up, and then her appearance fades entirely as a prosthetic body falls to the ground like a puppet with its strings cut. Robin mutters. In the distance he can hear the ambulance coming, and it's been maybe 3 minutes since they were called. So that's good reaction time if nothing else. Still, who's doing this and why? He needs to report this directly to Admiral Hana. This is the sort of thing that requires his direct attention. Why? Why so serious? The Joker wannabe asks, and Robin resists the urge to just shoot her in the head. She's not going anywhere and is in too much pain to actually cause further harm. He resists the urge to threaten the idiot as he dials the contact for the Admiral's direct contact. It's every inch an emergency's only thing, and he risks a heft paydock if he uses it frivolously. Admiral Hana, the all-business voice of the local admiral, states, I've just stopped a Joker cosplayer from murdering a young woman and an ambulance is on approach. We will need to speak, preferably in person, when I can clear out all the hospital and police formalities. Anything else? Someone with a prosthetic body that projected the image of a faily woman all but claimed responsibility. So you need to get into contact with the police so we can get all the information possible out of the prosthesis, Robin states. Well-reasoned soldier. Anything else? The attacked civilian seems like she'll make it, especially as the ambulance is currently swooping in. So I'll say no. I will update you whenever new information becomes available. Robin reports before hanging up. Perhaps rude, and he'll get a bit of a telling off later, but honestly, priorities. How is she? Robin asks as he kneels down next to Alviarna. She's in shock, but the bleeding is staunched. She'll live. What about? Alviarna asks as she looks over towards the injured and bleeding attacker. Disabled, temporarily. Healing comas mean anything shy of a decapitation or ripping out her heart can be excused as non-lethal. So long as she doesn't pull the knife out like an idiot, she'll live. Police cruisers swoop into the area. Good. He might not have heard it, but clearly there was sense enough to call the police. Good. Very good. Hopefully our next date doesn't end so excitedly, Robin says with a rueful smile towards Alviarna. Hopefully, she confirms. Soldier, Admiral Hana says as he steps up beside Robin. The man is staring at a monitor that's just watching the woman in the interrogation room. She had been placed under a small-scale healing coma and was no longer at risk of death. Her name is Hazalia Cross, Robin states. We pulled most of her information off the medical bracelet I got off her. She's a severe paranoid schizophrenic, a long history of lashing out violently, and apparently went missing 3 years ago. There were apparently markings that she was experimented on, including numerous suture markings over her scalp. These have been cleared away by the healing coma. What have they gotten out of her? She's latched onto the Joker character. What has me concerned, however, is her supposed handler. From the interrogation, it was 100 different people bringing her the Joker merchandise and such, but they all acted like one person, meaning the Faily illusion overtopped the prosthetic body could have been anyone, anywhere, and to be frank, anything. No species is off the suspect list, and due to the way that these bodies work, the perpetrator might not even be in the Scathach system. The question of why is one I cannot help but ask, Admiral Hana says. That's the information we don't have. Information Chuckles in there can't give us. You pity her. This isn't the Joker. This isn't a genius madman with complete and total nihilism trying to break the minds and souls of those around them. This woman isn't even at the level of Victor's Zaz with a fanatic need to cut people. This is a sick woman who lashes out at her nightmares, and I've shot, stomped, and stabbed her. She should be in a padded cell and slowly working her way out of the hell she's trapped in, not in an interrogation chamber. I'm glad you've kept perspective. You will have some mandatory counseling just in case, Admiral Hana states. Still, it looks like we have more drama on the horizon. Perhaps not, an officer says, walking up to them. Detective Savage, a pleasure, what have you found? This young woman had been used as a case study and her mind was partially digitized. We've caught the program. Effectively, her mysterious benefactor was her own cyber clone. The paranoid schizophrenia with violent tendencies has manifested in different ways digitally, and caused her digital daughter to pull her out of her padded cell and try and help her by giving her a persona to focus on, and wanted to release her to the wild, where she could be free. The backup to Skathak was a lower centrist spire, chosen at random. I must say, while this is somewhat anticlimactic, it is very encouraging to see such competence in our allies, Admiral Hana states. Might I inquire as to how you discovered this all so quickly? We would have had it one way or the other. She was still wearing her medical band when she was let loose. Your soldier here ripped it off, but he was assuming she might still be able to escape at the time. So grabbing evidence, when opportune, is just smart. Anyways, it had a full list of her side effects and issues, including the catastrophic failure of trying to use a cybernetic uplink to try and effectively speed up her mental healing. The end result was that they had 2 of her, and one of them was living in cyberspace and had already gotten out into the network like a virus. I see. And how did you catch her? She craves sensation and is paranoid. She bound herself into a main body and destroyed its ability to contact a larger network for fear of it eating her, which meant that we were able to trace things back fairly easily. And being insane means she's not exactly good at covering her tracks, Robin notes. Exactly, Detective Savage says. This is why I argued long and hard with the chief of police against the Gothamization of the Skathak. Even if it brings in a lot of money, the city of Gotham in the comic books is synonymous with corruption, crime, and madness, none of which are good things. Here is madness. How long until crime and corruption are rampant as well? How long until this city is Gotham but real? It won't be. Comics have to follow certain rules. You don't. There's nothing stopping you from just shooting the lunatics. Robin assures her. And what stopped you from doing so? She asks immediately, and he gives her an odd look. Ma'am, if not for healing comas, then she'd be crippled for life or dead, which is as gentle as I'm willing to go with someone trying to be a legit supervillain. If she was even more threatening, then I would have just straight up killed her and then needed some real therapy for murdering a mentally invalid woman, Robin says, and Detective Savage gives him a long look. The Sonier woman doesn't break the gaze as she looks for something in him. I see. Very much the do what needs to be done, then beg forgiveness type. It works, Robin says. What's your schedule like? Detective Savage asks. Why? Because it relates to my next question. Which is, Robin presses, are you seeing anyone? She asks, and Robin blinks. I'll leave you 2 love bats at it then. I'll request a formal report on this situation when I return to our base. Admiral Hana states with a smirk. It can be hard to not laugh at his soldiers and the silly situations they get caught up in.